Okay, we're gonna do our, doing our mock-up, so we got everything nice and cleaned up now. So after the honing, we use a real fine hone on everything so that everything's really smooth. So now just because it's clean metal, it ain't round. We know it ain't round because it's bouncing like crazy when I was honing it, but it looks round. But the biggest thing is everything's nice and smooth so it works freely. At least like this it works freely. We haven't torqued it into anything. And we don't have a lot of clearance in here. There's very little clearance. You get a brand new rocker arm, it's got a lot of clearance in it already. We don't have that. Okay, so which one is this one here? Where's your marks at?
Yeah, there should be
somewhere over here somewhere.
R1.
So that's an R. This is the rear, it has an R on it. Because I can't see the rest of it. So is R1 supposed to be an intake? Because I can put either arm in it.
That's true.
Because right now the arms are whatever I put in them. Where is that marked at? Oh, there it is on the side. F2.
Mm-hmm.
So, which one's 1 and which one's 2? I see a 2, so there must be an R in there somewhere. R2. Okay, we have 2. We got 2 of the same arm on this one, so something's not going to work.
Right.
It's an F1. So which one's F1 and which one's F2? Where are you starting the counting at?
The front?
I don't know.
1, 2,
or do you want
1,
1 to be an
2.
intake and 2 to be exhaust? I think more like that, because you don't have 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right.
So normally it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how Harleys do things. There is no 1 or 2 when you're on a head. So I think we're going to make the intake 1 be the intake valve, which is an intake port intake valve. This is an exhaust here, so we don't want to put it in. We don't want this one in here. So which one is 1 and 2 on this one? That's where's that, 2 or 1? Where's the number? There's
1.
1. So that's an intake. So I'm going to put this on the intake. Like that. So we have to swap out the arm here. This must be the tight one. And my steel hammer. I'm going to screw around with iron until we hit them with metal. Okay, junk one, good one. Okay, so 2 is going to be the exhaust. Now see on this head, that's an intake, see? It's wherever you put it is what it is. This is an R2. Now the long side goes to the push rod side, short side is to the valve side. And the dowels were already in the head. That's probably why they were missing. Now this I use plastic hammer beating on top. Or my semi-hard hand.
Right.
Okay, so they'll be down now it looks like. Okay, where's those new nuts I bought?
These ones?
These ones. In case you're wondering where to buy them.
Yeah.
Okay, these are not the correct nuts. These are the correct nuts. So the correct nut is actually a flux lock, CAD plated jam nut. Thin, that's why it's a jam nut. So this is the correct nut. It's a flex lock, so it's mechanically locked, so it doesn't matter on heat. Okay, so if you put that on this one here, see how the stud sticks way up?
Mm-hmm.
So we got room for a full nut. So this here is a flex lock hex nut, full length, not a jam nut. Now they didn't have any CAD ones of these, they only have them raw, so we're using raw. So this is a full height one here, see? Now you don't need to put a washer on here because this is brass. Brass is basically a washer material. Now if you want to put a washer in there, then you could probably get away with this one here, but why do you want to sacrifice the thread? Look how much more thread we got.
Yeah, exactly.
So you got more holding power, more torque on this than the thin one. So we got you these nice ones here to use. So those are going to get tight right in that part there, see? So we're going to put these all in here on your motor. Now we're doing mock-up right now, so I don't want to use these right now because every time you use these, the sharp edge goes away. They don't work. So, but we got both styles here. We don't screw around, we order a part. Okay, so we need some 5/16 nuts. Any of those have floating around your back pocket?
Down
Fresh out?
the yeah.
Should have bought a bag of 100 of those too, is that it? I actually did buy a bag of 100 several times. Whoa. There's some extra nuts on the floor. Somebody dropped their nuts. Now these are grade 5 nuts because I don't like buying cheap nuts. Yeah, you tell they're grade 5? Because grade 5 nuts have numbers and names on them. They should have hash marks on them too. This is little hash marks. If you have just a cheap ass nut, they don't have anything on them. So. Except this one's a grade 5 because it's got a nut on it because I ran out of cheap ones. Because I use good ones. But somewhere there's a box of crappy ones over here. Now these are crappy washers. Used to be a box of crappy nuts over there. So grade 5 nuts you can tighten more before they strip. When you buy them in a bag of box of 100, they're not that much more money. Probably pay an extra $2 for the box or something. So.
It works out alright.
Yeah, if you care about a couple extra bucks, it matters, but I don't really care. I'd rather have a better nut. So that's when they were holding up and we were putting those studs in there. And I still destroyed 4 or 5 of them, even though they're high-end nuts. You still abuse them, you abuse them.
Exactly.
So these are going to be our pan-up mock-up nuts here, because we got a whole bunch of panheads to do. Well, you want a couple yourself? You can have one on the floor. Uh-oh, Scooby's moving around again. Scooby's watching us. The supervisor's in charge over there.
Exactly.
He was groaning about me dropping that nut. Okay, so out of the way, so I'm gonna drop on the floor again. It doesn't matter how you torque these down. If they bind up on loose and tight in a different way, a lot of times they won't bind. I do a cross pattern again. So that's about 22 to 25 foot-pounds. Okay, these are not binding obviously, so they're nice and good. Hear the clearance in them? This is up and down, not side to side. This is side to side. This is up and down. See this one I like a little better, see it doesn't have that up and down in it? Nice and free. This one's a little loose, but now this is the one that had the bad ones. So that's what you get when you got bad arms. See how I don't really hear the up and down in it? That's side to side, but not much up and down in it. This has a little bit up and down in it.
Not much.
Not much. That's the new ones you get have at least that much clearance, maybe a little bit more. The brand new ones. So there's no binding in these, so we don't have to worry about them sticking or being any issues. There's no drag at all on them. Nice clean surface, so that's good. Now next thing we have to do is deal with our rocker tips, which we're not going to do tonight, but The way we do that is we're going to have to grind these so they go across the valve correctly. We have to figure out what we need. See it full lift. So these things are radius cut. See, it's right in the middle of the valve right now. And it scrapes across as it rolls across. It doesn't dig in the top of the valve anywhere. So this shape will work, but you can feel it's not very even. Feel the flat spots in it, or can you see it?
Yeah, you can see it.
So we have to grind it so it's more flatter. So I'll make it more of a flatter profile when I grind it. So right now it'll work the way it is, but it's not nice. So this one here, we'll have to put the valve in this one. Same deal, we'll have to make these where they go all the way across. See that scrubbing action?
Mm-hmm.
That's what's hard on the valve guide. See, that shoves, it's putting a lot of pressure coming this way
Right.
on the valve stem. See, ideally you want to roll across the face and not scrub. See, it rolls right there, but that's scrubbing the whole time, then it just scrubs really bad.
Yeah.
That's just a heavy scrub. So if you had like 800 lift, it really would be bad. Luckily, we don't go that far. We don't go about this far. See, just it starts to really scrub bad, and that's
Yeah,
when
that's
we quit.
right.
But see, that's at maximum pressure too, because it's the springs, so that's the worst place to be doing it. I like having a lot of scrub real early, and then roll real nice, and the last 30, 40 thou is where you start to get the scrubbing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how my motors I run, 700 lift or better in them.
Right.
But you have to regrind the tips to make them do that. Technically, these tips should be way up here.
For a bit of geometry.
See how we're at 90 degrees almost?
Yeah.
That's supposed to be at mid-lift, so that should be like down here.
Oh, right.
So that should be 90 degrees right there, so the valves are that much too short. So the valve should be way up here.
Wow.
The problem is you go way up here, because it's a thing called a pan cover kind of gets in the way.
Yeah.
And you have to have custom valves made. And the other problem is it gets up in the cover over here, the spring.
Sure.
So if you had some conical springs that are smaller down on the top, you could do stuff like that, and you have custom valves made. You get really good valve geometry. Makes a difference.
Yeah.
Now, if you're hitting when you're hitting on the inside here, you're losing ratio. You're hitting on the outside, you're gaining ratio. The overall ratio is an average. Maximum ratio is at 90 degrees. That's your maximum movement right there. That's your maximum travel. That's your maximum ratio. When you're over here, it moves in, you lose ratio.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you want to have everything adjusted where it's pretty equal. There's a lot of things in geometry that people don't know about. Alright, so we've got to regrind these tips to make them a little bit better. Like I said, being ground like a full roller will keep them from hitting on the edge of the valve, but you are going to lose. You have a lot of scrubbing, so it's going to wear them out more. And you're going to lose some of your lift because the ratio decreases a lot real quick.
So rocker arms, they reduce that scrub action?
They roll, so they don't have the scrubbing as much.
Right.
There's still some drag in the roller, but not as much. This has no, it's just like, it's like dragging
It's
something
just
across
sliding
the road.
across it. Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of heavy drag. That's why cars have tires and not skids.
Right.
Skids work good in the snow and ice, but not on ground.
Right.
Same thing. So these things they are what they are on these things. This is the other one over here. Let's see how this is a more flatter profile, like a stock profile.
Mm-hmm.
See how there's contact on the inside? See how it rolls across real nice?
Yeah.
And it starts to scrub right there, but look how far our spring is down. We're
Right,
full coil
exactly.
bind. We're
Yeah.
a coil bind. So see how much nicer that works?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of rolls a little bit, then it scrubs at the very end. This is the shape that should be, that's the shape you're supposed to have. It's kind of an arc. It works better. This radius stuff like this works really good with really high lifts. Like my race bike, I got them more the shape like this.
Right.
But my geometry starts way up here. They're done
Right.
correctly, and that works pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not scrubbing like this one is where it's really bad. That really high lift I scrub, but not here. So that's why my bike can turn 8,000 RPM all day long. I don't care because the geometry's made to be warped.
Right.
Doesn't kill it. All right, so this arm we have to work on. These other three so they're ground with full radius. So this is the only one here that's actually got the correct shape to it. So we're going to have to play with these a little bit. The problem is the more we shorten these, we got two problems. The geometry is getting worse
Mm-hmm.
because we're losing it, and the other problem is there's only so much heat treating these things. So.
Right.
And we have all those new arms that were over here. They weren't much better.
Oh, very similar.
They're similar looking arms. We do have ones that are kind of oddballs. So these ones have real long curves to them. This one has a real short one like stock is, but see it's very long. It's a very, see it's all,
Mm-hmm.
it should be more like an angle like this, not like this. They ground at the wrong angle. So we got to make these things all work by grinding these things. So let's see how they're a lot flatter shape
Mm-hmm.
than what yours are. This one over here, see how it's more of a radius to it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just more like close to stock. They radius it, and at the very end they parabolic curve it off real quick because that's where it digs in the valve on the backside.
All right.
So they just put a notch in there. A stock rock
So it
arm,
stops it.
it'll have a hard grind mark like that.
Wow.
On a stock rock arm. I have some over there. We'll pull them out later. But so anyway, these all have to be rebuilt too because these are brand new ones. But these are so full of this. They got muck in them. You can feel how loose they are. When you clean them out, they're good. This one's all bound up. See it? Drag marks. Hear it?
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be that noisy when it's new. So these things are just crap. The chatter marks in there. Get the finish in that thing.
Yeah. Brand new.
That's a reamer. For a bore. That might be just bored. I think they bored these. These aren't even reamers. They bored that, but the machine was crap. The cutter was crap. Look at the chatter
Same
marks.
here,
Look at the chatter marks in that thing. So you got to take these brand new. First you got to sand them a little bit to get the clearance down to 0. Then you got to sand even more to get, because you got to do a lot of honing to get this
Right.
crap out of here to make these even decent. And the other problem is the dowels are all loose, and you put them on the block, they move around on the head quite a bit. They're not,
Oh, wow.
they're not fixed real heavy. Quite like the original blocks, they fit better.
Mm-hmm.
But oh well, we got a bunch of these rebuilt, and they're all the same. They're from 3 different vendors, and it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. They just vary when you get them. All right, that's it for this.